Hi there! Welcome to our Ucam X version 2026.06 release overview video. My name is Sylvia Lima and I'm with Ucamco Belgium. In this video, I will take you through the new features and enhancements of our second Ucam Xpert release. As a guide through the video, I will use the release overview you can find on our homepage or on info.ucamco.com in the Ucam X timeline. We extended a lot of existing features and developed new ones, like the copper count based on tiled calculations or the new support for the Xact software. Let's start with the job tree extensions. We heightened security through permissions based on groups for you to fulfill all requirements of your customers with critical security needs. You have direct access to Ucam jobs to prevent unnecessary switches between menus to be able to get a faster adaptation of Ucam jobs. Extended history records now keep a history record of all actions performed on a job to prevent record holes. The advanced search options are a fast way to select the right job from the whole list of available jobs. Permission to delete UJT jobs is based on group permission settings to again heighten the security by organized permissions to delete jobs. And last but not least, we are supporting Azure groups now. This is a fast and common way to handle logins. If we have a look at the pictures below, you can see some examples, for example, how the groups and permissions are working. So my profile, all users, and the group management. Here you have the click button to load a Ucam job and a visible example of the history record. This is the new search, and I will show how that works in Ucam Xpert. Let's have a look at all the job tree server extensions. The groups and permissions, you have the possibility to create a special login where only this admin or job admin is allowed to create groups, to give permissions to specific users and groups, and to create new groups and give the rights to do. Here, as an example, my profile, I'm an admin, so I'm able to create groups. I'm a job admin, and that means I'm even allowed to delete a job from a server. For all users, you have a list of people and you see what rights they have. In my case, I have everywhere a write permission. For example, Monsieur Morin only has reading permissions for the medical. The groups are only examples, so in my case, industrial, medical, military, for example. Of course, you can create something for special customers who only allow specific users to work on their jobs or have a look at the jobs. And everything you need is quite easy to set up and make sure you fulfill the needs of your customers. The next one is the direct access to Ucam jobs. With the new structure in job tree, we now have the possibility to have direct access to Ucam jobs. That means I can go to the setup, into the panel setup and open the frames and coupons. I can switch to coupons and have all my coupons in here. And if I open something and say load job in Ucam X, it is opening it, and if I save it, it is saved on the fly. To show the extended history records, I will open the job tree and open a job tree job and the PCB of it. And in the history, I directly can see that there are already 4 entries on top of the initial commit. So, and in the last one, we changed, or I changed, because it's on me. There is the date and the time. And I changed 3 files. If I click on it, I can have a look at it. So the general underscore datecode.log is the log file where I can see everything. The 02 to 03 DPF is the file I changed. If I now have a look at the file folder, I see the general.lck, like here, which contains the PC, which was used by which login and on what time and date. And I see the general log file, and you see what happened to the job in here. So, for example, the aperture number 1 was edited to 0.45 millimeters. This is a permanent logging in the background. Of course, a database can contain a myriad of different UJT jobs, and you need a quite good search functionality for that. If you are working on the local, you can directly filter on top of the columns. So for example, if I type something in here, it will directly filter and show only which is containing that. On the server, you have the advanced search now. That will give you the possibility to set your own filters. For example, you want to filter a specific job name that contains demo, and you get all the jobs which contains demo. If you want to filter for combinations, for example, you want to filter for the customer name, for the job name, and so on, you can combine everything to each other, so you get a very fast overview. On top of the list, you see the search filters, and if you delete them, you will get the view of all jobs again. Means if I now do a small search again, I get a new search filter. The permissions to delete a UJT job I already explained. That is only be possible for the job admin. And the support of Azure groups, I think I don't have to show. That is clear for every company who's using that. So that's it for the job tree server extensions, and I switch back to the overview. And we go to the next topic, the DRC Xpert extension. With a direct link from error to use check, you can make easier decisions based on the added information and get a fast insight to the detailed error information. We develop more available DRC check, which is a time-saving addition to the already existing list of DRC check. and you get all the important information with one run. For example, the new pet clearance plus track clearance, the pet to pet plus pet to track plus track to track check, the track clearance plus clearance of 0 is error, and the minimum ring lay 2 to lay 1 plus the isolated pets on lay 2. Now we switch to Ucam Xpert. For the DRC Xpert extension, I go to the main menu, verify DRC Xpert. I load our example configuration for outer layers and let it run through. If I now go through the errors in the DRC fault details, I directly see the connection to the check. In this case, for example, same net space, or if I go further down, pet to pet, or if we go to the end, annular ring without a wire. I think I don't need to explain the existence of the combined new DRC checks. So, and back to the release overview. And our next topic will be the Xact output. We now support the Xact software. We developed an output and input, and with the usage of the Easy GUI, it saves time and reduces errors by directly outputting the data needed. It is a very comfortable handling with no to and fro between different softwares. Here in the image, you see the GUI for input and output. In input, you can import the XML file and get the information. You can adapt the values if needed, and then with selecting plot parameters, you apply the scales as plot parameters, or if you select the graphical, you directly add them in the job data. That is visible on the Ucam Xpert main window. For the output, you add all needed values and output the changed XML file for Xact. I think the images are enough, and we jump directly to the next topic. That is the extensions to our copper count. Copper count distribution is a time-saving addition of copper count information for tile by tile. It contains fast calculation and provides easy-to-use reports. The GUI is very easy to handle. The copper count for subjobs automatically adds copper count information of subjobs. This provides more detailed information of the whole job copper count. Let's have a look in Ucam Xpert. You can find both copper count extensions in the main menu, in Tools, Analyze, Copper Count, Subjobs and Copper Distribution. We start with subjobs. The moment I click on it, it calculates the job including the subjobs with the drill files from toe, so it calculates the barrels for the subjobs too. We get all the information about the different levels. So for example, level 1 and subjob 1, which is here, subjob 1, subjob 2. And I have the copper calculation including the barrels for the subjob 1, here the subjob 2. And I have the calculation for the level 2, which is the main level here, and all the information needed. Now switching to the copper count distribution. It's in Tools, Analyze, Copper Count, Distribution. Here I can decide if I would like to specify the number of tiles. So for example, 5 by 10, or if I would like to specify the size of the tiles. So if I do it 60 by 60, in my case millimeters, because that's a unit I work in. You can use a reference layer specially created for that, or your outline layer, or like me in this case, using the same layer which is visible. And I would like to get show output. That means I get a feedback layer which gives me information directly on the main view. So here in the validation window, I see for each region the square decimeters and square inch and the percentage. I see the same thing in the job folder. Same as we've seen in the validation window. And with the show output, I have the copper areas feedback layer. And if I have a closer look there, for example here, I see that the region number 52 has 27.2%. The next one, the 62, has 27.3%, and so on. This makes it possible to decide on modifications for a better copper balance, or at least for information of critical regions for the production. And we jump to the next topic: the editing transform extensions. Editing transform is extended too. You can save transformation runs through directly copying when using mirror or rotate now. It's possible to prevent unwanted changes outside the current view. You can get a warning in case data will be transformed outside the visible area. On top of it, you can avoid unnecessary data changes on more than one layer and get higher security through the transformation process. I show that in Ucam Xpert. To get the warnings I was talking about before, I go to the setup of the Ucam DB and need two more checks. The first one is check.active_layers, and I have set it to 1, so it's activated. And the other one is check.selections_outside, and this is activated too. Now I combine the new warnings with the extension of the transform window. Here we have a job with a lot of layers, and if I activate a layer somewhere down here, I can't see it in my normal layer editor. But if I go to transform and want to show the new copy toggle, which is working together with the mirror and the rotate, if I would rotate this now, I will get the information that this operation might affect data on layers other than the layer in plane 1. If I don't want to do that, I can say no, go down, and then safely rotate my data and copying at the same time. The same is if I select something on here. So for example, I select the second one. And if I now zoom into the first one, the selections are outside of my visible main view. And if I now go back to the transform and try to copy directly while mirroring, if I do that, I get the information: this operation affects data outside the visible area. Do you want to continue? This gives you the possibility to, again, say no, make a reset of your selections, and then safely mirror your data. We finish the extensions for the editing transform and go back to the release overview and have a look at the text updater. The recognized text in text updater are sorted alphabetically now. The additional information of text per layer and aperture provides a fast overview. You directly can see which text is used in what aperture. Get the information even from inside blocks. This is visible here in the picture, and we will have a look in Ucam Xpert now. As you can see, I have prepared a simple job with aperture text, vector text, and contour text. And if I open Edit, Text Updater, I have the already known tab All Texts, and it shows me all the different kinds of text. If I now, for example, select one, and I would like to change that, and with the toggle Update on Active Layers Only, in this case, it should only change the text on the top layer. If I do that, I see changed aperture text, and in the list I have the original aperture text still on the bottom layer and changed aperture text on the top layer. If I deactivate the toggle and use, for example, the contour text, I go there and say changed, and I let it run through. You see here and here. The new tab per layer is giving us information which text is on which layer. So, for example, here the still original text for the aperture text, and on the top layer the changed aperture text. I think that is clear, and we switch back to our release overview. The next on the list is the Object Summary Table extension. The Object Summary Table has a better organized GUI now. It is dockable. You can use it as part of a workspace as floating or docked, or set it to auto hide. Easier shown than explained. You can open the Object Summary Table from View, Object Summary Table, and you get a dockable GUI. That means you can have it like this, floating in a workspace, or you can place it somewhere as a tab, or you can place it somewhere in the workspace. And if you want, you can put it to auto hide. That means you can open it with the side tabs. That's it. And we go back to the next topic. The General Messages extension. If you deem the override messages in the Save As process unnecessary, we extended the ucam.db to remove these messages. Here you can see an example for the message. This is working for jobs, layers, XDPF, and DRC. Let's switch to Ucam X. And here you can see all 4 keys to be set to 0. The default is 1. 0 means the message will not be there. And back to the overview. And as always, there is more. Ucam Xpert version 2026.06 comes with a host of fixes for issues you have cared to report. Please keep on doing so. Your feedback is highly appreciated. Thank you. We list major open issues as soon as they are detected in the file open issues and a datecode.txt in the version folder on the FTP side. Please monitor this to avoid potential production problems. We recommend to install this update at your earliest convenience. The installer can be downloaded from the Ucam FTP download server. We recommend to use an FTP client as most browsers do not support FTP. For questions, please contact your local business partner or the Ucam help desk. We thank you for choosing Ucam Xpert. We are already at the end of our tour, and I hope I could give you an overview of what is new. You can restart the video with the link below, or you can watch it directly on our YouTube channel. If you are interested in a demo more fitted to your requirements, please contact us on support@ucamco.com or your local sales channel. Last but not least, I thank you for your interest and your attention. Thanks a lot, and bye.